He really needs me? What about... What's her name? Miss Perfect. Sydney. She can't do what you can do. Amen, sister.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another breakdown of Legion. Greg and Ryan here. We are breaking down Chapter 17, Episode 9.
Yes, before we get started, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of these breakdowns, as well as breakdowns for Westworld Season 2. Now, obviously, guys, there are spoilers ahead. We're going to break down the entire episode, so go watch that and come right back.
I'm not sure what you're trying...
It's never their fault. Our men. God forbid. We should have a feeling about it. What choice do they have? Destiny calls. What kind of bitches would we be to stand in their way?
Okay, so this episode's a very Melanie Bird / Lenny episode. We talked about this earlier. We thought it's coming in some week, and we finally got it. And this is actually the first episode Noah Hawley's directed since the series premiere.
Yeah, pretty crazy. And yeah, we, like you said, we expected this. And you know, it's also pretty strange that the episode had no David in it.
Nope.
Except for a few flashbacks here and there. But yeah, no David, and it kind of just went backwards in time and kind of just explained a few things, but didn't really move the plot forward. And I think you and I kind of didn't really like it for that.
We saw this coming, but I was like, wait, it's got to happen soon because we only have a few episodes left, so they have to go back. We knew with everything with Melanie and then a little bit with Lenny. I was hoping they would go back and try to get some stuff with Lenny, but that's actually taking place in the current timeline.
Right.
Melanie is the only thing they went back to clean up her backstory a little bit. I absolutely adore Jean Smart, so I'm not mad at this episode whatsoever.
Right. I think you and I both agree that we wish they incorporated her a little bit better this season.
Could you...
Not cast her to the side,
No, yeah.
make her smoking, get high in the vapors for the whole season and stuck in her room, and then finally we get an episode where she's involved, and it's just like not moving the plot forward, and we have this other whole thing going on in the desert that we really want to get to.
That's the editing though too, because I feel like a lot of this could have been put in different...
Sprinkled in, yeah.
Could have just been sprinkled in different parts in each episode with still the mystery of what's going on. Like all the stuff with Melanie talking in her head and walking around. That could have been... we could have been like discussing like, who is she talking to? Maybe there's a twist here. Maybe it's not Farouk. No, they didn't go that way. I'm okay with this, but we only have so precious few episodes left.
There is no world to save. It's all in my head.
And while John Hamm wasn't in this episode, his presence was felt though.
Yeah.
His vignettes, they were playing out pretty much through Melanie and a few other characters. It was kind of, I dig it.
Yeah, Melanie obviously suffering from a lot of what we've learned throughout the season on those little lessons that John Hamm was doing. She's clearly delusional and doesn't know right from wrong, real from fake. And she's kind of had her own, she's had her own time like pent up in this room, getting high on these drugs, and she's not the same person anymore.
Speaking of those drugs, last week I was trying to call that out. I was like, did we miss something with her smoking? I was like, is that part of Farouk's plan? Is he getting to her that way? Still no answer on that whatsoever. Right? She's just smoking.
Right, we don't know. I mean, it might be. We do know that, David and Lenny were doing that way back in the day when they were kind of junkies and before Clockworks.
Vice thing.
A vice, and it's a crazy, futuristic drug. It's kind of like hookah mixed with something else, opium or whatever. But we don't know exactly if that maybe makes it easier for the Shadow King to then manipulate.
Yeah.
If you're in a weakened state, let's say.
Okay. I don't know. I felt like the way they were teasing that along, like they still could go some way with this, where it's like at the end it's Farouk or somebody just poisoning her, but I doubt it now.
The one big problem I have with Melanie and the treatment of her this season is Division 3 seems to be, an intelligence agency trying to stop threats from outside threats, but also like a rehabilitation center for people that are sick.
Yeah, and the speakers, they tell you, like, if anything's wrong, if you see weird things, let us know. And
I mean, she's just doing drugs all day. It's like...
Carrie Caesar doing it, too.
Yeah, she needs help. Why is no one helping her get better and clean?
I understand that sometimes you just want to back off and keep your distance, but she's your damn teacher. Last season, she was the main helper.
She was organizing everyone.
Why? Why this season they're like, f her, she can do whatever else she wants.
Yeah, like let her just get high in the room.
Okay, let's get to the Shadow King for a second. Now, he's able to pull Melanie into the astral plane. Now, we don't know if that's Oliver really talking to her or if it's the Shadow King the entire time using Oliver as his puppet. I'm assuming it's a little bit of both here.
Yeah.
And Oliver's trying to give her a few hints and clues here for what she needs to do in the future. That's my interpretation.
Totally. No, I'm totally with you on that. Like, if you're gonna try to turn Melanie Bird, manipulate her by using her husband, someone who's the most close to her, and her love for him, and her yearning to be back with him. They've been absent from each other for so long. What better way than to get her under his control by using Oliver? So we don't really know when it's Oliver, when it's Shadow King, but we know that there's an influence there that is not good. Yeah. So let's talk about the conversation with Sid. Melanie and Sid have a conversation that they had earlier in the season, actually.
Yeah.
When David first returned to Division 3 after his time in the Orb.
This is like their remix.
Yeah, they show a little bit of another perspective of that conversation. And a big theme here is kind of the men
who
leave these women back at home when they, destiny calls and they have to go save the world. Well, they're also neglecting their better half at home. And it's kind of the abusive relationship that, happens when you abandon those you love.
Yeah.
Admiral Fukuyama asked if you're ready to get back to work. We need
That's
you.
how they control us. Their absence distracts us from our lives, the things that matter.
Okay, and this is a little off course, but I can't help thinking of when you say superheroes and abandonment, Superman Returns and how he left forever and comes back. Oh, I have a kid. Cool. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen that movie at this point, it's okay. I actually love it more than any of the Zack Snyder Superman incarnations. So there you go.
I mean, this is a consistent theme throughout a lot of comic book storylines and movies, and not even comics, just in general. So it's very, it's a touch. I think it was a touching, effective scene. It was good. You get some perspective on what Melanie's going through, the pain that she's been feeling, and maybe part of the reason why she's in the state that she's in, and she's having a hard time kind of getting out of it.
And then Melanie reveals to Sid the saddest words in the English language, apparently.
Do you know what the saddest words are in the English language? Vacant lot. Don't know why. Vacant lot.
All right, so a vacant lot is, literally a unused piece of land in an urban area that's, nothing's been built upon it. In Melanie's sense, perhaps it's the void that she feels with the life that she wanted to create with Oliver, and it's completely empty. There's nothing there. She's extremely pessimistic.
Yeah, could you say this is a very pessimistic view on this situation, especially when you can look at that lot in another way and be like, I can build something here for an optimist. Hey, there you go again. John Hamm, help us out here.
So where the pessimist sees danger hiding behind every back, the optimist sees friendship.
So to wrap this all up, for Melanie, she had dreams of saving the world.
Yeah,
but
she did.
At what cost? Now she has a whole lot of nothing. She literally wanted to spend the rest of her life with her husband, someone she loved, and he's abandoned her multiple times.
Also, that Sid-Melanie conversation very much mirrors the conversation that Farouk had with David about we had male arrogance, and this time it was like colonizers and trying to come for the crown. Same thing. And then finally, we have to talk about the young Melanie in the astral plane. Basically,
Diving into the pool.
Yeah, so basically he's got her.
Yeah, I think that confirms that he has control over her, just like Lenny was sitting there poolside. That's his realm.
Yes.
He now controls you.
Now, does he have control over her the same way he had control over David, though, from season 1?
We must leave soon.
And go where?
To find the monk. Remember?
Now let's talk about Lenny. Lenny is finally freed from what she's been through in the last few years, and she is turning up.
Buenas tardes, bitches!
So obviously Lenny was a big-time junkie, and this was like the party house that she was most famous in. and they hit the vapors a bunch here.
So she meets everyone in the house, which is only a few people who are probably not asleep.
Yeah.
And she brings up that she's the cornflake girl. And when she said that, I was like, cornflake? Oh yeah, season 1. I was like, it had been a while.
Yeah, we had heard the nickname cornflakes in season 1, but I really think it's a reference to this Tori Amos song.
Ah yes, Tori Amos.
Never was a cornflake girl. Thought that was a good solution, hanging with the raisin girls.
So literally, Tori Amos in interviews described cornflake girls as like narrow-minded and holding grudges, and basically women that you might not be able to trust. They might be close to you, but then they'll betray you. This kind of sounds like Lenny.
Yeah, a little bit.
So it's not a complete stretch that Tori Amos is making a reference in Legion?
Regardless of all this, we should be cautious of her intentions at this point. If that wasn't clear already from the very get-go about Lenny's character, you just be careful. She may stab somebody in the back here.
Yeah, she's not working for the Shadow King. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's semi-sorry. She wants to help David, but we can't really trust her.
Are you? Is this just gonna happen now, or? You could just give me my body back.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
Also, we called it. Amy's back.
Yep.
That was not the last time we saw her a few episodes ago. So
She is haunting Lenny. And she wants her body back.
Yes. It could be also a part of David's psyche, just like tipped in her a little bit to make sure.
I was getting a vibe of that as well, that it's just David kind of pushing that manifestation onto Lenny in order to push Lenny to then help him.
Yes. So does Amy get her body back at some point? Maybe?
I would like to see it. I think that she deserves to get her body back. I don't know how it's going to happen, obviously. Lenny's not going to give it up to her.
I think David will figure out his true potential and manifest her back into reality.
He can make his own rules, you know?
Yeah, he can bring her back. I think she's going to be around in some way, some fashion in the future, whether she's in David's head or Lenny's. An actual body, I don't know.
So then we see a little bit of how David's plan is taking shape. And he basically put the images of this plan into their brains, either while they're sleeping or in the hallway with a snap of his fingers. And it was a cool little transition, you know, with flash forwards back and forth to kind of give you fragments of how it's all going to go down.
It's like his Ocean's 11 plan. You just snapped in everyone's minds. You get the quick Soderbergh montage of everyone in place, and then we just get to the point. And there's some twists, but it feels so much like Ocean's 11 to me. I don't know why. Now let's get to the Carries. So now they have their plan, and they know what they have to go get. And apparently there's no security around D3 when it comes to getting weapons out so quickly, or whatever that room was.
It's harder to get a book out of a library than this spot.
Yeah.
Like, they just walk up and like, shh, be quiet. And then take any weapon they choose.
The Admiral asleep is like his like night nurse rocking him to sleep right now. He can't see anything because I thought they're supposed to see everything.
Right. So let's quickly take a closer look at that shelf with all those weapons on it. Shout out to Reddit for this help here.
Yep.
It looks like we have the Lassiter, the gun from Firefly, in the middle right shelf. I don't know what that gun is in the top middle. It looks like something that Cable might be shooting with in Deadpool 2.
So there's some kind of dream catcher looking thing in the middle. I got that. The rest of the stuff looks like something out of Star Trek Next Generation.
Blow up the damn ship!
No! No!
All right, so the Carries grab that weapon, and it's in a small little box, but I'm assuming that it folds out into a sniper rifle that we see Lenny with later. And they go out to the parking lot with the blue octopus, and they park the car right there, and they go grab a bite to eat, some refreshments.
And then right after, we get a cute segment with the two Carries, the little cream soda, like fish out of water scenario with her. She just loves everything. She's still green to everything. So I think it's kind of cool that they're really building these characters up still, and they're giving us time to let them grow.
Yeah, it was perfect. I think you and I always enjoy the Carries, and you know, earlier episodes it was how to use the restroom for Carrie, and now it's I really enjoy the cream soda. It's just a fun little thing they have going on with Carrie kind of learning the outside world that it's so foreign to her.
And this one hit home very hard that there's a good chance that maybe this season or the next, they may be splitting apart somehow.
Yeah, heavy foreshadowing that something bad's gonna happen, and you know, a male Carrie really wants to prepare her for life without him.
And we're slowly seeing that take place in episode to episode.
I am gonna die.
What?
Someday, I'm getting old. And then you'll be alone like Melanie.
Side note, guys, Electric Octopus is actually a band, and it's like psychedelic rock mixed with some jazz and blues, and it seems perfectly on brand for this group.
Oh yeah. And then they spot Lenny going to the car, they try to catch up to her and figure out what's going on, and all of a sudden the music starts jamming out and the car starts shaking, and then everything turns green.
That's
and then
literally from Repo Man.
And from there, she shows up in the desert, of course. She pulls the gun or whatever that thing is in that box out of the car right before it explodes.
I love that, by the way. She waited, she's like, oh wait, the weapon.
Ah!
As the car is burning behind her. That was fun.
Yeah, so we're gonna see next week where this goes. We even see it in the trailer already, so we know those guys with the boxes, she's gonna go up to them. And we'll see how this plan plays out, hopefully next week.
Yeah. And then the episode ends with Melanie seemingly getting transported to the desert where Oliver is.
Yeah.
And it looks like that Farouk has the powers, just like David could bring the car and Lenny out to the desert. He can then bring Melanie and transport her out into the desert. And it looks like she'll be used against David and his crew. All right, now it's time to talk about our favorite moments from episode 9. Greg, what do you got?
Mine has to be with the Carries at the diner. Of course, it has to be that scene where Carrie doesn't understand metaphors or figures of speech.
Then why did you say blue?
Because it's a figure of speech, like having too much time on your hands, no. Anyway, we're getting off track.
Yeah, I totally agree with you here. This was one of the best moments of the entire episode. She even says that she would stab Death twice, and he was an endearing, gross but endearing comment to say. I love that whole sequence, even them running off and getting to the car, and she's like, I'll drive. I also enjoyed seeing more of Aubrey Plaza.
Me too.
I mean, Lenny, finally we get some more of her this season, although it was more of a drug-fueled party the whole time. But getting her out of just a jail cell
in a room,
and out of a pool, out of a room, is always a good thing to see.
I think we say this every week, but shout out to the cinematography, because the one shots they had for Carrie's in the diner were very beautiful. The great lighting. Okay, let's jump into theories, predictions, questions. Ryan, what's on your mind this time?
I want to go back to that 1+1 theory that we heard a few episodes ago when Oliver was talking with Farouk. Now, it might be a little too obvious, but it feels like it has to be Oliver plus Melanie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's too obvious. Like, why, if you're trying to defeat somebody, why would you,
show your hand?
Show your hand like that, or why would you use someone's wife, who has a pretty tight connection with Oliver? So I feel like she's gonna double cross the Shadow King. Obviously, it seems most plausible, but that might be too simple of a theory.
I don't know, maybe we just don't know enough yet about it. I think there's not enough out there for the 1+1 theory just yet, even though there's only 2 episodes left, so which is why it's leading us to think it's probably Melanie.
Homo superior, c'est nous. Melanie.
One question I have is, again, what's up with the octopus? Now, we get a bunch of different animals. I feel like last season was about colors.
Yeah.
And this season, it might be about just animals and spirituality.
Yeah.
But when it comes to an octopus, we've seen it a few times, even in the first episode, in that wanted sign they had it.
Yep.
Octopus are all over the place, unless someone in the comment section can tell me, no, this is definitely what the spiritual meaning of it is. We've had the cow on there a few times now.
The frog with one of the vapors.
Yes. I don't know where this is leading, but I have a feeling this is more on the side of Noah Hawley messing with us the same way he does with colors.
Yeah. Now, we got one instance of the Minotaur this episode, in the desert, kind of approaching Lenny from behind as she's getting ready to shoot. Minotaur is always scary as hell to see, but was that a manifestation of Melanie's arrival into the desert? and now she is manipulated by the Shadow King and in control from the Shadow King.
Oh, so it's her spirit animal creature.
Basically, like, you know, one of the main times we see the Minotaur is during scenes with Melanie, either in her room or in her own mind labyrinth when they were inside of her. So I feel like the Minotaur represents kind of the manifestation of evil inside of her when the Shadow King has control.
So Melanie's Minotaur is like a reflection of David's devil with yellow eyes kind of thing?
That's what I'm feeling, yeah. And how about the conversation between the new Janine and Lenny when they were talking about a play that she was acting in?
Yes, a play that she was waiting for someone to show up and they never did. That's Waiting for Godot, Samuel Beckett's play. I really hope they're not alluding to Farouk's body, like, oh, they're looking for it and it's actually nowhere to be found. And the whole season was pretty much
we're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and
we're not gonna
we're
get it.
never gonna get it.
I hope not.
Speaking of that body, there was a conversation between Oliver and Melanie on the astral plane in that icebox that we used to hang out in when his body was in the astral plane stuck for like 30 years, I think it was.
Yes.
And he asked why she didn't burn his body to separate him from his corporeal form.
But if you just burned me...
Burned you?
I could have danced through a cosmic field of multi-dimensions with no outer limits to speak of. Would have been beautiful.
So it sounds like burning his body or freeing him from that connection to the body actually would have made him stronger or sent him off to a higher plane of existence.
So either Farouk is shipping this message to Melanie to burn my body, or it could be Oliver telling her, hint, 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 burn this body, it'll get rid of him forever, I'm lying to you.
It might mean that Farouk actually wants David to succeed in burning his body because he will become even more powerful and literally be able to control the world and destroy everything.
Makes sense why the monks didn't want to burn that body or do anything to it. They just wanted to put it down far enough where no one could find it.
That's a great point. Why wouldn't they burn it immediately if they had control over it? They were more playing an elaborate game of hide and seek and not letting anyone get to that body. Maybe if you burn the body, he becomes an unimaginable villain that would destroy everything.
Some kind of eternal or something.
This might be way too soon, and I'm sorry guys, but don't you get a sense that David's just gonna pull a Thanos and snap his fingers?
Maybe, I don't know. It's all over the place right now. Oh, not again.
Do you know where a girl could find a monastery? Cool.
Next Tuesday.
Look at him. You're a man.
Someone put a monster in his head.
He's insane. The things he'll do.
I'm going after him.
Where is she?
I'm ready for my revenge.